Can I show you why your marriage might be such a huge struggle? When marriage isn't going well, it kind of makes us feel like nothing is going well. Because marriage, it trickles into our entire existence. Everywhere we go, our marriage either kind of puts a noose around our neck or a cape around our neck. When you're not doing well at marriage, you feel like, I'm not doing well at life. It kind of makes you show up and kind of pretend. You walk into work or you walk into church and you smile. How's everything? Oh, good. But deep down, you're like, well, I guess it's good that I'm not at home with my spouse right now because it's cold and pretty boring back at the house. And so I want to give you this simple visual, these boxes. When two people get married, there's a lot of boxes to unpack. Just like when you move in, you got to unpack. And so there's many categories of our relationship. And these boxes represent categories. How we look at money, how we look at parenting, what do we think about sex, our values, our goals, how do we handle chores, how do we find friends together, how do we have fun together. They're boxes that we have to unpack. But inside of all these boxes is not just opportunities, there's threats in every box. Like, what if we don't agree about this? Inside of every box is the opportunity to fight about something. What if one person, you see the box down here that says sex on it, and one person, like, they brought that box and they happily, here, I brought this box in, I love this box. But your spouse, their sex box is about this big. And you're like, that's kind of scary. Why is your box so small? Because really, if I did this visual more accurately, there'd be two boxes. One person has the money box, the other person has their money box. One person has their parenting box, the other person has their parenting box, representing that we have our own notions and our own ideas, our own desires about how we think things should look. Now, what do we do then? What many people do is we just never unpack them because it's too scary. So what does that mean then? Well, it means you live in a house full of boxes that we're afraid to touch. And because we don't open up this box together, our relationship doesn't grow. That's what we don't see. The way a relationship is built is by opening up a box and facing what we need to face together to build the marriage we want to have. This is how it's done. When we don't open the boxes, we're forced to hide them. Or maybe one spouse takes a box, I'll just take care of this myself. Well, that doesn't work because how one person wants to take care of this thing is probably not balanced, and it leaves the other person out of the equation, and the other person might be very frustrated. What if one person brings a money box with them and the other person doesn't even have a money box? Because they know nothing about money. They just like to spend it. And so then you have this massive difference of opinion about something as important as your money. How many months do you live together before that becomes a huge barrier in your relationship? People who build a strong marriage, it's very simple. They open the boxes together and they're reasonable together about what they should do with that box. It means both people have to sacrifice a little bit. Both people need to be a little less selfish. And when you come to decent agreement, not absolute agreement, but when you come to decent agreement on these categories, your relationship becomes something that feeds your life instead of something that takes away from your life. So with most couples that we talk to, couples married 10, 12, 15 years, when you ask them, well, how many of those years have been good? Commonly, the answer is I don't know that any of them have been good. Because most people we never unpacked the boxes from the beginning. These boxes have been sitting in our closets and sitting on the couch between us for 10 or 12, 15 years. And we wonder why we're so cold. We wonder why there's no feelings between us. We wonder why it's frustrating to live in your own house. It's because we never unpacked the boxes. It's not because we're bad people. It's because we never unpacked the boxes. But my friend, it's not too late for you. You're probably a great person. Your spouse might be a great person. You just might have a lousy marriage. But throughout history, great people have had the guts and courage to look at the boxes of their life and say, I think it's time to open up some of this stuff and face it. And if you face it, you can find a different reality for your relationship.